So first, I would like to introduce our panelists. The first is Grishma Karthik. She is an architect by profession, and she's a co-founder and creative director at Creative Lake, a firm which uses 3D technology to transform designs to life and create visually stunning environments. Her experience lays with creating immersive experience for architecture, interior, real estate, and commercial. And also, I'm very proud to announce that she is one of our ACP students. So, thank you so much, Grishma, for joining us. Our second panelist is Shravan Raj Purohit. He is CEO at Intellify. He is an MBA graduate, who has several years of experience in building businesses. Shravan's aim is to turn Intellify into the top augmented reality and virtual reality development agency in the world. So, lesser known fact about him is he is a professional. He was a professional DJ for almost 4 years, and music is his core passion and interest. Thank you, Shravan, for joining us. Our third panelist is Pankaj Sir. Pankaj Sir is the CEO of Ajnalens, and his notable achievements includes he's a mechatronics engineer from London South Bank University. He has developed AR tech in MIT Media Lab initiative. He is an hardware architect and engineer at IMAR, where he developed one of the world's most advanced 3D scanning system. So let's start with the first question. Uh, how was that? I would like to ask Grishma, as she is working as an architect for a long time. First, I would like to ask her that, according to her, how is XR technology revolutionizing the traditional design collaboration process, and what are the specific benefits it does to architects, designers, and clients?
Hi everyone, and thank you Pramay for the introduction. So I have been working with 3D since last 8 years now, and I would like to start with a little history. Major 3D visualization firms that came up was in 1993. So it's exactly 30 years now, and we are now experiencing a very big revolution in this industry. And so as Pramay asked, like how is it like going through, or how revolutionary it is? So all the clients now, they want to do something new, and this is the thing where the new word is not just a very small thing. It requires some lot of energy and effort to be created. So XR comes in, where we are now showing the clients what exactly they are going to get. So be it in terms of architecture, interior, real estate, or anything which is related to design, they are actually seeing what they are going to get. Also, like in terms of which clients are going forward with it, the interior designers, initially it used to be just like the big ones they were approaching or something, but now also the individual interior designers who are freelancers also are now very much interested in showing their clients how their flat is going to look. So just wear a device, see it, and the clients are also very happy. So this is something which is going to be very amazing in the next 2 to 3 years.
Amazing. So I would like to ask Shravanji to add his opinion or his ideas to whatever Grishma has just shared.
So I think, yeah, so first of all, yeah, hi everyone. It's great to be here, and hi to Pankaj and Grishma, both of you. Uh, so yeah, just to add on what Grishma has said is that obviously 3D is something which is still a little bit of skeptical as of now as well, because majority of the time which we have seen is that the roadblock which comes is the 3D modeling, the animation, and all those parts, right? Everybody wants to create in 3D modeling. Everybody wants to visualize how their flight are going to look like, or how the things are going to work around them. But the major roadblocks come the 3D modeling, their timeline, their pricing, etc., etc. But with the time being, I mean, we are in 2023 right now, and I still remember when we get started in 2018, right? So at that point of time, we were just doing small POCs in VR, AR, and people were still on a very early stage to understand, whether this is going to be success or not. But now, if I look back and see in 2023, obviously, as Grisma mentioned, that not even the big ones, but also the small startups, even the individuals are coming with the requirement that, hey, we want to give a good user experience to our existing customers or the new onboarding customers by adding 3D, by adding XR, to our portfolio and make a wow element for them.
That's great. So, as you said that we are facing like major roadblocks in 3D modeling. So, I would like to ask Pankaj sir about their opinion that how can we overcome all this uh, like major roadblocks in 3D modeling.
Namaskaram everyone. Hello Krishma. Hello Shravan. Pleasure having you guys here. Hi Pramay. A very interesting question. I think these roadblocks were very true couple of years back. Right now, I think with more and more people learning about creating 3D models, creating environments, the roadblocks are decreasing. But the other challenge which I think a lot of companies are facing is finding the right talent. People who know how to create these 3D models, these environments, and with high quality, because in office spaces you want something that is really high quality, specifically within architecture, wherein you really want to make it feel as if it's real. So finding the right talent is becoming a big challenge, and I think that is wherein something that we are working on, trying to create a platform wherein you have people who are looking for XR talent, and then AR, VR, XR, 3D modeling talent, and then you have candidates who know this talent come onto the same platform. So think about it, something like you have Naukri.com, but for XR specifically like that. I think places and things like this is very helpful. A couple of my other colleagues are also working on doing events wherein they get like collaboration between companies that are looking for talent and talent. They can come onto the same room, talk to each other, and start interacting. So things like this, more events and activities like this will be very helpful.
Right. So I just want to add a couple of points on what Pankaj just said is that I think there are two different aspects of it. One is a customer facing and another is finding the right talent, right? Now, on the customer side also, if we see, there are two major things like AR and VR. And when we create a 3D model for that, both of them have a different set of requirements, right? But our clients don't understand that, right? They want the same kind of quality for AR as well. And obviously, when they look into the VR also, they want the same quality, right? So majority of the time, I mean, on early days, it was very hard to explain them. It's really difficult to load down the poly counts or how the quality will squeeze, so etc. etc. But with the time being now, all the major giants getting involved into this, they are making a lot of cases on that how things are working. So people are still understanding that okay, if it's an AR, I might get a little bit of low quality, but it will look good. If it's an VR, then definitely I can get a high quality, right? So that's the one part. Second part, finding the talent. I think what happens is I have seen that most of the people are still trying to learn, again the same use case, whether if I'm going with the AR part, so what kind of 3D model I'll be creating, how I'll make it low poly as well as the good quality. So obviously both the terms are equivalent as of at that point of time, right? And similar way, if I'm going with the VR, so I have to make sure that the space and everything which I'm designing, it looks good. So yeah, just wanted to add that point.
That's a great addition. Thank you so much, sir. So moving on, I would like to ask Grishma that what are the main challenges or limitations that architects, designers, and clients might encounter when adopting the XR technology?
The major challenge that we personally are facing right now is, of course, the budget constraints. That is something which is never going to go away. But apart from that, if you see technically, then as such, it's nothing is a constraint as such. It's just that we need to increase the awareness in them that why it is going to be useful for them. And once I think we succeed in that, then nothing is a challenge or a constraint. Also, it depends on what the client wants and what the client needs. because want and need are two different things. So right now it's more of everyone is wanting to do something, but if there's something that is a need of the hour. So for example, if I can say, when we are creating an Unreal interactive immersive experience for the interiors, so we are actually trying to do is to completely eradicate the need to create a sample flat in that. So to make the client understand is a big challenge, that why, if you do not create a sample flat and if you just create an immersive experience, it will be much more helpful to you, and it will be cost saving, it will be material saving, and of course we all know that a sample flat once built, they of course they break, the person who takes the flat majorly they break it down and they create whatever they want. So major thing is to make people aware about why XR is important, what will be the need of that.
Uh, Lovely. So I would like to ask Shravan sir to give an addition to this. So what they feel that what are the issues which are like people are facing while adopting the XR technology, and what are the challenges you need to overcome?
Right. So even if I talk about particularly India right now, so majority of the interior or the exterior which I have seen is particularly the static one. So you create the 3D model of the entire apartment or row house or bungalows, right? You just put it into Google Cardboard or any similar devices and you just show it to them whenever the customers arrive. So that's the one part of it where a low quality 3D model can also work. But now the with the emerging demand, we have seen that now people want a customized solution. So for example, I have an empty room, I go with my MR headset or any sort of VR device, right? And I can just customize my whole room. So that's a different generic requirement which is coming in now. With the first part, it's good that we can just create one sample flat apartment and we can show it to the multiple people. But when it comes to the customization, I think what happens is we need a dozens of model, right? A good amount of, like for example, we need a sketchfab to pull all the models from there and show it to the customers just to fit their requirements. So when I speak to a lot of interior designers and architects, so what they need is they don't want to spend a lot of money on every time customizing anything. So they want some sort of properties where they have a backend, they have ready-made available models. They give this VR device to the people. They just pull in all the 3D model, whichever they want, resize it, rescale it, and then they save it. But again, it's a, again coming back to the Grishma said that it's a challenging and as well as the pricey game. In order to build the pipeline of all those 3D model, uh, because I like the different kind of sofa and you might like a different kind of sofa, right? So everybody has their own requirement. Nobody's going to have a equal kind of sofa at their home. So that challenge, I think, which I see is right now with customizing every flat or apartment or anything for each customer need, which becomes a little bit of pricey. That is the I understand is a little bit of challenging or roadblock for now.
Great. So I would like to ask Pankaj sir that have they like do they have any other addition to this?
I think both very valid points from Grishma about the cost and from Shravan about having a tool which is easily customizable. Both of them have become a big challenge. I think where we are working on is trying to get the cost down. Grishma, and I think that is wherein it will go away very soon. Back then when we started, the devices were 5 lakh, 6 lakh rupees, so heavy, 10 wires coming out of it. Slowly the price has reduced, and it comes somewhere around 1 lakh. Still expensive, I know, but I think as we progress over, I think over the next 4 5 years, you would get really high quality 4K 5K devices at around 25 30,000 rupees. Is what we are also working towards.
Great. So moving on to our next question, I would like to ask Grishma that can you provide any examples of real life projects that you have worked where XR powered visual design collaboration you have done?
So what we are working right now with a very reputed builder. So this project mainly consists of, what we are doing is we are creating the whole experience in Unreal Engine, And right now, as of now, we are going to run it on touch screens because again of the headset budget constraints. But again, the this is slowly getting adopted by more and more developers, the all the A class developers. So we are doing exterior also, and also the interior, like I said, replacing the sample flat. So for exterior, if you all must have seen, whenever you go to a builder's office, you might see the whole scale model of the project in the sales office. So we are replacing the scale model with the whole exterior user experience. So if you see the just the scale model, you can just see like it's just block block block, and you don't know what surrounding it is going to be or where your block exactly is going to be. So working with Unreal, it solves all these challenges. You can easily incorporate the whole surroundings into it. You know, with you can take drone shoots and you incorporate drone shoot 360s into your environment, and you see them. So I think one step is already done, that creating the content. Now to see it into XR devices is something which is we are working towards it, and I think very slowly even that will get adopted, because this is just still touchscreen experience. Once someone wears it and sees, it's just going to be completely mesmerizing. Thank you.
That's really great. So I would like to ask Shravan sir that can you just share his expertise and how to improve this the XR experience?
Right. So I think the example which Grishma gave is, it's around shooting with the drones and getting all those high quality images and everything, right? So every time when we integrate that kind of images, videos, or anything into the MR or VR devices, there is always a challenge with that because it's all are very high quality. We have to remove unnecessary meshes from them, or we have to make sure that those are compatible with most of the devices. So as of now, the recent projects which we did, there are a couple of projects in which we successfully integrated all of the images taken from drone, 360 images, and all the stuff, and all those are successfully working. Because the good part would be you get a high quality image, so obviously the quality and the feel will definitely look more good. And second, obviously when we talk about the VR, Unreal is much better when we develop any kind of solution in Unreal. But obviously, as a company, we do a lot of work on Unity only. So Unreal is something we haven't done, but obviously we can achieve with the Unity as well, which we have done over a period of the time. So a couple of example, like I'll say that in 2018 we created this entire platform for a company in India. They are a very big interior company. I won't be able to take name, but yeah, they're a big company in India, and they wanted to in 2018, again the very high time. So they wanted to just give an user experience to the customers, where they come on the platform, they design their own house, they integrate all the products which they already have, and then they visualize it. So what we did was we created a web platform where you come, you just build your own home with all the measurements. You drag and drop all the 3D models within that, and then you get multiple options. You view it in 3D, view it in VR. So at that point of time, we were just giving access to cardboard. So when you click on that, it comes into the completely visual experience. You put it into the Google Cardboard and you view it. So that was a quite of hit experience which we did, and client loved it, their customers loved it. If I talk about the recent experience which we did during the COVID time, so there's a company in Switzerland. They are also into interior designing, and their main challenge was how to show all of their kitchens to the customers, right? So we did AR and VR, both the apps, which solve all of their problems. So VR app was able to give them an option to customize the entire kitchen, changing the color of cabinets to changing color of their everything, like wash machine and everything. And AR app was just more of like just visualizing how their kitchen will look like if they are looking at their home. So yeah, these are the real time examples which we did.
Yes, Grishma, you have raised your hand.
So I would like to add one short success story of ours. There was a client, and this client is developing in the SRA land. So SRA is slum development land. So they have to convince the people from the slums to give the land, and they were not very convinced because they had no idea what was going to come how it will look, what will be in it for them. So this client then approached us. We were initially just doing the 3D visualizations for the client, and the client approached us like, is there any way that we can, show them, like literally show them what they are going to get. So we created a complete demo and we showed them in a VR headset. And you won't believe, we put a stall in that locality. Initially it's just the kids that were coming to us, and we showed it to them. These kids, they went to their parents and they said, oh, it's so amazing, so amazing, something new. And then it was like parents were coming, and these people, they emptied the whole land in just 1 month. So the client was so happy. This is, I think, 3 years ago we have done this. So it was one example, wherein it's not just all the big leaders or the a quality people are doing this, but even the small builders who need something, and this is something which was very close to our heart, this project, because it was the first VR project that we had taken, and it really helped the client. Thank you.
Wow, what an amazing project you have done. Really amazing.
Thank you.
Yes, Shravan sir, you have raised your hand.
Yeah. So just one good point which Grishma mentioned was about the kids visualize it, the kids reviewed that, and they went to the parent, right? So I think Grishma, I think Pankaj, you guys must have observed most of the time with our client as well that what happens is when we say, hey, this particular thing is going to take 4 weeks or 6 weeks of time, right? And then the client say, hey, this is only 2 weeks of work. But then we realize, we know that okay, after the 2 weeks when we give a build or something to the client, definitely they are going to come back with a lot of changes, because AR and VR, we three of us very understand clearly that it's not all about a normal mobile app or web development. It's more of like you build it, you give it to them, they visualize it, and then they know that okay, this is the actually thing I wanted or I don't want it, and then they give us the actual changes. So I just realized that point while Grishma was saying.
This is actually a huge constraint when it comes to
Yeah,
AR VR, because you need to go on, keep on doing the changes, and
exactly.
changes, they start right from 3D models. So first go and change in the 3D model, then do the materials, texturing, everything. This is really a huge challenge.
Yeah, even in when we do, I mean, we do a lot of kids book as well, right? So when we create those characters, right, 3D characters, so
Mhm.
a couple of clients always come to us and say, don't share us the skeleton or something, just show us the final character. And we are always like, we are happy to do that, but we know that once we build that whole character, we know that 50-60% of the changes are going to come. So
Yeah.
that's why we share the skeleton first, then we share the texture one, etc., etc.
That was great. Pankaj sir, I would like to ask you to add something to this.
I think they have covered it very well. But to add to Shravan's point, I think coming back to having a easy drag and drop editor will be something that will be very helpful within this domain, so that all the changes either the client themselves can do it on their end. If not, it will be easier for us to not put as many man hours into it.
Yeah, agree. And just to add on what you said, we are currently in a kind of a discovery phase for that, doing with one of the Saudi clients. So hopefully it turns out and we start working on it. So hopefully we have some good, good use case to see and how it works. So still on a very POC stage as of now, but we are doing it.
That's great, and all the best for you, sir. So I would like to ask Grishma that what are the specific features or functionalities of XR that are particularly useful for architects and designers as of now?
As of now, one thing that we can do is when we are creating this clicking thing in Unreal Engine, changing the models, 3 4 options, giving them 3 4 options. Again, that comes with a lot of challenges, but that is something when there's a small space or something, maybe just a 2 BHK flat or something, it is very useful. Second thing which is very useful is, um, if there's a structure and just the facade needs to be changed, like there are 2 facades to the commercial building and just the facades need to be changed. So designing the facade and then seeing it exactly how it is going to look is a very great thing for architects, and uh, we have two clients who are already doing this with us. So the third thing again is we are working towards it. It's not yet into picture, but working towards it. We are creating what do you say? You It can be like, creating the whole structure and seeing the whole structure where it is going to be. So that is going to be the complete scale thing, getting the complete, seeing this complete scale model. But of course, it is again a lot of challenges.
That's great. So when it comes to XR content development, mainly there are two engines which is used, that is Unity and Unreal. I would like to ask Pankaj sir that what do you think, which tool is like best to settle specifically like to for in architecture domain?
I think not just architecture, but across all domains, my answer would be similar. As for someone who wants to just start and just wants to play around with AR, VR, XR, uh, then Unity is good for them because it's very easy, very small learning curve. But someone who probably wants to build a career into this domain, he should first go for Unreal and then also learn Unity, because it's not very hard. Once you go understand Unreal, Unity learning will be easier, because now you've understood a much more complex tool. You're moving towards easier tool. But going forward with, even let's say Apple releasing their glasses, all these new devices that are coming up which are 4K, 5K, people would expect the quality of the experiences to be very very high. And Unity, because of the framework on which it is built, there are a lot of limitations in terms of the kind of quality it can match, also quality to the processing power that is required to produce that quality. There is a lot of restrictions because of the fundamental technologies, while as Unreal has that added advantage wherein you have really high quality, high poly models uh, which run very smoothly on a Qualcomm XR2 chipset on majority of these XR VR devices. So I would highly recommend someone who wants to build a professional career to start with Unreal and then play around with Unity. But if you want to just play around and quickly experience, then Unity is the easiest tool to start. And Shravan, if you want to add, Krishma, if you want to add.
No, I think you said very rightly that Unity is easily accessible because the resources, the materials, everything is very easily available. People can just go on Google and search it, and they can even start learning around that. But at the same point of time, when it comes to the Unreal, it's very precise, limited resources, but again very powerful. So both of them have their own pros and cons, and I mean, again, depending on which particular way you want to grow. I mean, if you are keen towards AR more, then definitely I would suggest always, Unity is the better way. And if you are going with VR, then you should start with Unreal. Again, if you have that much bandwidth and that much resources available with you. Otherwise, you can also do a lot of stuff with VR and Unity as well.
I also feel, as Shravan rightly said, that if you want to go with AR experiences, there's nothing better than going with Unity. Even for architecture, Unity is better for AR experiences, but for VR experiences and to create like really precise thing, Unreal is really important. But when we are talking specifically about architecture and interior, then Unreal learning is a must, because you can create so many options inside it, and there can be so many like pinpoints what you can do. So lot of course lot of like research is required with blueprints, so as to what all can you create, can you not create, what all will work or not work. But again, if it comes to architecture or interior, Unreal needs to be there.
That was a really great addition. I would like to ask Shravan sir that what do you think about the user experience plays a really great role, and as we have already discussed that compared to Unreal, Unity does not give that much hyper realistic content. So, what would you like to suggest on that?
So I think couple of things which we noticed over a period of the time with Unity and when it comes to the designing, integration, and everything, right? So obviously, when you integrate designing or designs with Unity, right, it's always a challenge, right? You don't get that look and feel which you get in the native developments, right? So if you compare any sort of design with Unity app and again the same design with the native app, then definitely you'll always see a lot of differences between that. So again, design plays a lot of thing into the user experience, because how the users start and where the users end, that is the, I mean, obviously you create a good model, you create a good functionalities, everything is good. But until and unless you don't design, the entire flow of how the user is going to start and where the user is going to end, then definitely, it creates a lot of mess around that and your product always fail. So when you start with that, definitely what we do is we do a discovery phase always whenever we start with any sort of app or product development, and we try to identify how the users are going to react, what kind of behavior they have, and how they are going to react to this particular functionalities or features. And that's how we keep adding materials on different stuff within that, and that's how we design that.
That was really great. So I would like to ask Pankaj sir that we have been talking about how to like in developing apps, AR VR apps. So I would like to ask Pankaj sir to comment on the hardware part, that really the hardware is able to support the app which we are talking about.
Okay, two aspects. One is while developing the experience, you would require high-end hardware if you want to run on Unreal. With Unity, slightly mediocre would be okay, but Unreal, because the idea is that you're using it to create high-quality content, so a high-quality hardware is required. That is wherein trying to use virtual machines becomes a much better option, so that you don't have to invest that 80-90 lakhs 80-90 thousand to 1 lakh for the hardware of the laptop or a PC. In terms of experience, currently the latest is the Qualcomm XR2 chipset, which majority devices, whether it be top AR VR manufacturers use, is what is working on. In that, if you do the right optimization, majority of the applications will work on the hardware itself. But currently, we are also working. Also, the industry is working on remote rendering. So you essentially render everything on the cloud and stream the pixels to the device with almost little to no latency. If we move in the right direction in this direction, then probably over next 6 months to a year, the size of the experience, the processing requirement of the experience will not matter as much, because it won't happen on the device itself but will happen on the cloud and with almost no latency streamed to the device.
That's a really great point, Pankaj sir. As I've seen that people are posting their queries in chat, so I would like to say that in the last 10 minutes, your questions will be addressed. So meanwhile, I'm requesting all the attendees. So whatever questions you want to ask to our panelists, you can post it there, and it will be addressed in the last 10 minutes. All right. So talking about, we have already talked about hardware and software. So again, I would like to ask Shravan sir that what is the exact role of 3D modeling in XR Power, like design collaboration, and how does it contribute to the accuracy, realism, and overall quality of the design?
Sure. So I think when I mean when we just want to add that uh, why 3D modeling and XR are both very compatible, because if there is no 3D, then XR won't look that beautiful, right? Which is looking right now. So whenever we share our portfolio with anybody, and when people ask us that, hey, you guys don't do 3D modeling, then we were like, 3D modeling is not something we sell as a service, but that's an essential part of the AR and VR which we do. So that's how we demonstrate 3D modeling, right? Now coming to the XR collaboration and how it works, that obviously if you remember, the first point which I made was that if you have a a bunch of 3D models or a tool where you can fetch 3D models from there, right? So definitely it can help, like, architects and people to demonstrate the real time scenarios with the people. So for example, I go to a particular person and tell them that, hey, I have this particular unit which I want to sell, and the customer wear the headset and they see, hey, I don't like this. But in the real time, the architect is also viewing on the TV that, what particular section he is referring to. So on the real time, they can change the 3D model, they can change the interior, they can change the color. Now that can only happen if you have a predefined things within that, or if you have a bunch of 3D model in the backend from where you can pull and you can just grab and drop in there. So that's how what will happen is the collaboration is happening instantly. You're saving time, you're saving a lot of energies. Otherwise, earlier what used to happen is, you go with something on an ipad or something, you show it to them, then they say, hey, I don't like it. Then you go back, you work on the maya or max, wherever, you do all those changes, you go back. So the back and forth is too much. But now with the help of xr collaboration and everything, even remotely also, for example, if your client is sitting in outside of country or maybe in a different city, right? So if they have a headset or something, they can definitely join virtually. You guys can collaboratively see how your house looks like. They can drag and drop the furniture, they can take the real time feedbacks. So all this is happening now. So 5 years back, when it was a dream to see such things, but now it is happening in a reality. And with coming all the latest devices and everything, they are so much powerful. So definitely things are going to be very easy for, specifically for the interior designers and architects and everyone.
That's great. So I would like to ask Grishma that since we have seen a rise of AI in the recent years, so I would like to ask that is she using any specific tools, or what does she think that the tools which will help her in doing great 3D modeling?
So one thing that is where which we are using is Mid-Journey AI to create some samples. We just create something and we just show it to the client if it's the designing part, and then we get into it. Second thing we use is Photoshop AI because that is really a boon for us. And what happens is um, you do not really get Indian humans as 3D models. So you just go to Photoshop AI, just type Indian 3D model and it's done. So your image is created with that. So majorly all interior designers, architects, everyone just keeps asking, we need Indian models, but it was a really big headache for us. And Photoshop AI is slowly solving it. Although yes, there are challenges in terms of when we put a complete Indian, so then it's a matter of what you prompt. So prompting is really important in that part.
That's really great. So I would like to ask Pankaj sir, as Grishma has already told that what kind of tools she has been using. So I would like to ask Pankaj sir to help us understand that what are tools which can be used to optimize the 3D modeling for architects.
I'm not sure if I can answer this with limited understanding of what tools can be used within the architectural space, but I think Grishma can, spoke about two key tools. One tool which I have personally been using is large language model like ChatGPT, wherein for doing quite a lot of my task or getting a lot of information, it becomes a lot easier. So this could be used for probably even understanding what are the prompts that you can use inside Photoshop AI. So I've been using that quite a bit, and some things that would traditionally take me about 4 to 5 days, now within a day they are ready. Yes, Grishma.
So just so you said, so I remembered like we use Chat GPT like in minutes, but that is also a bad thing. But again, it's very useful and just reduces our time. So initially for animations, we needed to do a lot of storyboarding, like from where the camera will pan, what will be the starting point, what will be the mood of the picture, what will be the lighting of the whole sequence, everything. But but now you just give few prompts and it's ready. So within 1 hour the storyboarding is done, which earlier used to take maybe say 4 to 5 days. Then you send it to the client, then the client gives you revision. So it's just so easy now.
That's lovely. I would like to ask Pankaj sir that looking into the future, what advancements or developments we see in XR technology that could further enhance virtual design collaboration.
One is the collaboration tool itself, where multiple people, multiple shareholders can collaborate within AR, VR. Currently, everybody is talking about it, but not many have seen practical use cases, or it has not become your like daily thing. Obviously, there are multiple things. One is the lack of hardware for everyone, so more people can come in. But the platform itself is also not very ready or as user friendly as it is required, so that multiple people can easily wear the headset, come into the same environment, and do that. So that is one thing which I think in future is going to really come within the XR space. Second is the hardware. As I mentioned, we started from bulky hardware. Now we're moving down to smaller hardwares. The hardwares will become smaller, and the price probably will become lower. That is the next bit that is coming in. And then AI will start becoming more and more integral part. It will probably become like electricity, wherein it is part and parcel of almost all technologies. So using AI for better hand tracking, for better world recognition, for better slam, for better computing. So it's not just other use cases like how do you run the same model or the same APK onto the device with using less CPU or less RAM. AI could play a big role into that as well. So things like this will also help. Yes, Raman, I think you had some point to add as well.
Yeah. So a couple of points from my side would be first again the hardware which you mentioned, right? So nowadays I see most of the people do have an access to the hardware, right? Now people can definitely order any of the MR VR hardwares. Maybe most of them are not available in India, but since you guys are developing, so a lot of Indian companies are now into this and they have access to this. So that's a good part. But if we talk about majority of the world, now a lot of people have access to that. Uh, I think what better in future would be the remote collaboration between multiple hardware. So right now what is happening is it's one hardware to the one hardware. For example, I have any particular device, right? So I have Adrenalist right now with me. So majority of the time it's more compatible with the same kind of hardware, right? But in the future what I'll see is that if I have an Oculus, right, so my device would be more compatible with your device as well. So that will help people to collaborate more, because then I won't be dependent on, hey, for this particular app I have to download, I mean, I have to get this hardware. So in future I think this is going to be solved. It's not immediately, but at least in 5 years or in next 6 7 years. That is one part. Second is the hardwares are getting more and more smaller and compatible. So since Apple released, right, so everybody was shocked to see there is no controllers in the hand, right? It's all completely hand gestures and everything. So I think in next 5 years also everybody is going to remove all of their joystick, and everything will be completely into the hand eye tracking. So they even use the eyeballs as, right, for selecting the features and everything. So these are the major advantages I think which is necessary in architecture and everywhere, where if five people are joining in a particular conference or anywhere, right, and they have something to discuss, they don't have to be depending on the joystick or anything. They can just use their hand to bring out something or discuss on that. So that will make more accessible for everybody. That's all I have to add.
That's really great. So talking about advancements, so I would like to ask Grishma that if we say that whatever advancements or developments which we make with the XR, so how will it shape the future of architecture and design?
I think it would be wonderful if an interior designing project would take 6 months, like Shravan said previously, that the interior designer has to go back, do the changes, then go back. So if a project takes 6 months, and with the help of XR device it's going to take him just 3 months. So just imagine the number of projects a person can take. Similarly with architecture, so with architecture point of view, it's never like one person is involved or one architect is involved. So it's like the licensing architect is there, landscape architect is there, then the design architect is involved, and there are n number of people involved. So if all of these can come together and just do a meeting, just see from remote locations whatever the progress is happening in the project which takes say 5 years to complete will be done in 2.5 years itself, because of the no delay in the communication. So that would be a wonderful advancement for real estate, the sales point of view. Right now people, they just see the 2D layouts, they just see the flat 3D images and just see the basic walkthrough animation that is just going on the video screen, and they still don't understand where my unit is going to be, what I am going to see through my unit. Many people just buy the unit in terms of what view it will be. So just imagine if these people are wearing headsets and they are just seeing, it will be very easier for them even to take decision to buy. So with architecture, interior, real estate, design, it's going to be a wonderful advancement.
That's great to hear. So now I would like to take questions from the chat. The first question is from Vivek Chen. How should developers try to adapt AI with their workflow? How should they approach AI tools, and with that, with what mindset they should approach it for future projects, especially for AR VR in upcoming years? So I would like to ask Shravan sir to answer this question.
Sure. So, as an organization, we don't use much of AI, but looking at the future and how people are using it, I can definitely answer. So, a couple of use cases which we are working on right now with the help of AI is, for example, making it more personalized. So, there is an telecom company who came to us for creating this entire mascot of their particular brand, which can come out in front of the customers, and it can be very personalized. So for example, the customers say hi, and the character respond back. Now the character asks them, show me the Amazon Prime plans. So now what the character is going to do is they will go back to the database, they will check the relevant answers, then come back to us. So now what is happening is the number of answers are very fixed, right? But the questions has been asked in a various way. So show me the Amazon Prime types, or maybe show me the Amazon Prime or something like that. But what the character is doing is he's trying to understand the question, going back into the database, getting the answer, and also storing the answer also from which the customer is asking. So that's how I think the AI is definitely going to involve in upcoming years, where brands are going to make it more personalized to the customer, so that they don't feel like they are talking to a chat. So as of now, most of the time when we go to any of the website or anywhere, there is a chatbot option, right? We talk to them, and most of the time now everybody's aware that if I click on this particular answer is going to come down. But now with the help of AI, a personalized human being can come in front of you, you can talk to them, and he can try to learn, understand you, and he can be your personal assistant as well. So that's how I believe AI is definitely going to involve in AR particularly. Now in VR also, if I talk about architecture and all this stuff, then again the same personalization, where you go to a particular particular building, they give you the VR headset, and when you wear it, you get a personalized assistant who is standing in front of you in VR, and now he's assisting you to show you everything. Here, this is the bedroom, this is the kitchen. Even you ask them the question, they are answering to your questions. So that's how the personalization can also help.
I would like to add here. Now app stores and apps are very very common, but when Apple released its first app store, that a smartphone can have an app store and there could be multiple apps, they had a very very good branding strategy wherein they said there is an app for it. So if you there was an underline and then there is an app for it. Anything you want to do, there's an app for it. So like that also, anything you want to do, first look at or Google if there is an AI app to help it. Let's say you want to create 3D models. Is there an AI app to help you create 3D models? If you want to create, like Krishma said, some rough images, is there an AI app to create that? So that will help you first ease your process or reduce your time or cost while creating those things, which will be very very helpful. And if there is no AI app for something that you want to do, I think that is a great opportunity for you to create that app and monetize it as well. Because AI is drastically changing a lot of things within the personal and the professional life, things that would probably take us multiple days or even weeks, now we are doing it within hours or maximum a day or two. So I think you should definitely explore AI. Try to find out AI tools that could help you, and there are quite a lot of tools now. There is also a website I was looking up that shows whatever you want to do, you type in, and then it will say what are the tools available for you to AI tools available for you to ease that process.
So I think just to add what Pankaj said is nowadays, even if you go on a LinkedIn as well, there are a lot of people, putting all those list of AI tools which you can access. If you want to create a video, there is a particular this tool. If you want to edit an image, there is particular this tool. So I mean, it's a filled with a lot of AI tools nowadays.
So I would just like to add, on LinkedIn, even for commenting, there's an app. So you just install that app and you just press that. It will give you 3-4 options of what comment should you put. Just select and add. Of course, it's like you understand that it's written by a bot, but if you take that, you just change a few words and do it's good to go then.
That's great. So there's one more question taken up by Ishwar Singh. So its question says we use several softwares to modeling like SketchUp, Rhino, Grasshopper, 3ds Max, and rendering engines like Enscape and Lumion. In fact, these rendering engines also provide VR. So is it mandatory to use 3D, Unity 3D or Unreal Engine?
So yes, I completely agree that all these softwares, they provide you with the VR experience. But when you are, it's just a VR experience. But when you are using Unreal, then it's an immersive experience. In these softwares, you just create an image and then either an image or a 360 rendering, and then you are using a VR headset and experiencing it to it. But when you are working with Unreal Engine, there are certain blueprints that you can create from wherein you switch 2D layout to 3D layout to an aerial view. You can also create material changing options or furniture changing options. You can also create the measure tool, which you cannot do with all the other softwares. They are majorly 3D rendering or 3D modeling softwares, whereas Unreal is something which is a experience creation software.
Great. So I would like to ask, I would like to know Shravan sir's point on question put up by Dinesh, that as an industry standpoint, how AR and VR involves in education industry.
Uh, Education is something I still believe, it's one of the vast majority industry where, AR and VR has been used and is going to be used in the future as well, because we as a company started with a lot of AR projects in education and we are still doing it. So education is something where, a lot of use cases have already been developed. For example, we did a lot of softwares where we create a panel for a particular school where they create markers like textbook pages. You put up a videos 3D model on top of that from the back end, and we give those access to the teachers and all of them, right? It's very easy to use. So what happens is, for example, you taught something into the school and you want kids to visualize it and how to understand it. Then definitely they can go back home, they can just have their iPad or download the app, scan that particular page, and the 3D model will come up, right? So those are very basic examples, but definitely education is something where I see a lot of more use cases coming out in future, and it's one of the most growing industry which I see right now. And that's why we are also developing a platform in education industry which is going to live and by end of this year or something.
Great. I would like to ask Pankaj sir if he has something to add to it.
No, I think Shravan covered it well. There's one more question. Uh, how UI UX in XR space difference from UI UX in standard 2D platform? Huge difference. In 2D, you have just 2D layouts and you just place open, close, maximize. But within XR space, you don't use your mouse. You probably use your hands or controllers, and it is in the 3D space. the layout is completely different. It is more closer to the real world as compared to the digital world we are so used to. So there's huge difference, and I think this is one of the things which we teach. Grishma can add on, as a part of Asana Creator program, uh, wherein there's a stark difference between what 2D UI UX is and what 3D UI UX is.
Yes, so what happens is when you are just creating, like Pankaj sir said, 2D UI image, it will be just a basic image, that it's just like a basic JPG image. When you are doing something for XR or AR, VR and creating a UI UX, you need to do everything. Maybe, also the labels that are there are sometimes modeled as a 3D blocks, so that there's much of, when you are seeing it, you will understand that it's coming towards you. It's like 3D and it's coming towards you. So there's a major difference, and I think, in words it is very difficult to explain this thing. When there's a demo or something, it just, so I think, all the students here, there's a UI UX whole chapter on that. So if you guys just try it, you will understand how different it is.
So there is one more question related to this one only. So I would like to ask Shravan sir that Madhur wants to know what happened with the UI UX design and how did the transition for 2D space to 3D space in that stream has happened.
So again, 2D space is something which is very flat, right? You don't see beyond that, right? So when we say, how does that stream happen, is that definitely 2D is something where you can visualize it from the front, right? But for the 3D, definitely you have to create, all the assets, all the relevant thing into any particular software, like whichever software you use, and then you have to integrate that. So streaming can be happen only, but you have to put the 2D as well, and you have to put 3D as well, and then only the switch can happen. It never going to be like you just upload a 2D particular thing and it's automatically going to be switched into the 3D. Nowadays there are a couple of companies, or I would say softwares, which are claiming that, and they're doing it also, but I'm not sure how easily accessible those platforms are for utilizing it in AR and VR. I mean, couple of things which we did for ourselves was not workable because of unnecessary meshes around that, or not in a proper structure or something. But obviously in the over period of the time, things are going to move, and you'll have a tool where you just put in the 2D image and the AI will understand it, and they'll give you back the 3D model of it, and then maybe you can switch it between both of them.